both of us have felt that it's kind of in those hardships and in those vulnerabilities that we really are able to like show God's light and that people see his light in us.
We are joined by Matt and Sarah Hammitt. Many of you might know Matt from Sanctus Real, but you left the band in 2015 to focus on your family. So before we kind of dive into what you have going on now, catch us up on what's going on with your family since that time.
Yeah, so it was really interesting. 2016, in February, I played my last show with Sanctus Real on a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean.
All the things.
And passed the mic to the new lead singer, Dustin. And really had no idea what God would do with us. And kind of it was really an open-handed thing. I just knew I was called to be at home with my family and just kind of moving to a new season of life. And it's been really neat ever since because, you know, the song Lead Me, that I wrote in like 2008. It's crazy because that song kind of set an opportunity where a lot of people were calling me and saying, hey, would you speak more into these issues of family careers versus like family dreams versus work dream, you know, family and career, like this tension that we all feel. And so it really opened up a door for me to pursue a bunch of many ministry opportunities. Family Life called and asked me to speak for some of their conferences. Kirk Cameron called and had me go out with him for about
Kirk
3
calls,
about 3 years with his marriage and family thing. Did some of my own Lead Me conferences and really still now just doing a lot of interesting creative projects, still writing music with other artists and doing whatever God puts in front of us that has to do with just building this message about just serving the Lord alongside of our family together. I think it's something that we need to model in this culture.
Yeah, and the reason we're talking to you guys right now is because you have a reality TV show out called The Hammitt's Band Together on Liftable.
First of all, is that weird to hear you have a reality TV show?
It's real weird.
It doesn't even feel real.
Yeah.
Can you tell us where this started? Like, why reality TV and what made you say yes?
I never imagined it, ever. You know, when our producer, Constance, called and invited us to do the show, I just remember my first response was like, no way are we doing a reality show.
Definitely no.
Yours was no.
No, mine was more like, well, we opened our hands and this has come, so we should pray about it. And we're pretty authentic and vulnerable, so maybe it's like part of our giftings to do it. And anyways.
Yeah, she was like, hey, let's be open to it. You know, she's real good with that. She's like real carefree, like, hey, let's think about whatever. I'm like, have more anxiety, you know. We always
You
joke
fit in with
that
our
it's like
podcast.
OCD and carefree is kind of our thing, you know. And so it was like, but we prayed about it more. They asked us again, and we kind of caught a vision for how we could really do something we felt was entertaining, but also had real deep meaning infused in it.
Well, and like it's a missional thing for us. Like the whole reality life, there's not a lot of Christians in it. So it was like the ability to spread the gospel through reality TV was unique calling. So, and I don't know a lot of people doing that.
Yeah, and part of the reason I wondered if your son Bowen played into why you wanted to do it, because I mean he was born in 2010. I believe is he 12 now?
He's
Almost,
11.
yeah.
Almost
He'll be 12 this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, born with hypoplastic left heart syndrome, which is super rare and takes a lot of kids' lives really early. And he has really defied all odds. And it seems like he loves being really open and talking about it. Like we watched him on the Today Show yesterday, and I was like crying to Becca. I was like, I can't handle Bowen. Is he part of the reason that you wanted to do the show, to like show people him and his story?
Well, actually, we did a documentary that's actually coming out here soon.
Bowens Heart, is that
Yeah,
right? Okay, I'm
yeah.
excited.
And that's what you saw on ABC News was the documentary. And so that comes out soon. So we had filmed that in 2019, and that was the whole process of working up to his third surgery, which
Big.
Yeah, I just felt the Holy Spirit say, you know, if you're going to go through this pain, let's make something out of it. And so it sort of was redeeming the process of the pain towards the surgery, and it sort of held us accountable not to run away from it. Because I was one foot out the door not wanting to do the surgery. So we did that, and after we did that, it was like, well, that was not hard for us. Like it was...
To share.
Yeah, it was.
And how did he do with the surgery?
He did great. Yeah, he did so good. But I mean, we didn't, the surgery was highly risky, and we didn't really know how the documentary would end. And so if it ended in a horrific way, we just had a really high-end family video. I mean, really. And so it was like, but he did great. He was in and out in 8 days. He was amazing. So.
And that brings up a great point, because obviously you've been through all of this medical stuff with him, and that's ongoing.
Yeah.
One of the things you mentioned with the new show is finding the light in the dark moments.
Yeah.
Has that ever been difficult for you as a family to do?
I think, both of us have felt that it's kind of in those hardships and those vulnerabilities that we really are able to like show God's light, and that people see his light in us, and we've always felt that the more we shared our story, and especially the hard parts of our story, that even in our personal lives and community, that's where we really connect with people. And then we found that too through, these other projects that we've done as a family, is that the more we share about those moments that hurt, just the more people come to us and say, thank you for sharing that. I needed to know I wasn't alone.
And it just brings purpose to our pain.
Yeah, it does. It's been redeeming for us to do that.
Speaking of purpose to the pain, there is a moment in one of the episodes where you guys go roller skating together, and it's kind of for your health. It's for exercise. I had a question of what was the hardest moment to film. I'm not sure that it was necessarily the deep stuff. I think it might have been the rollerblading.
Oh yeah. Well,
Are you okay?
My back still hurts a little bit. Sarah talked me into rollerblading. She likes to rollerblade. I've done it once, maybe for a minute when I was younger.
It's so hard.
It's
It
so
ruined my
hard.
12-year-old birthday party.
It's pretty much like, what can we talk Matt into doing that will make him look completely ridiculous and be a good laugh on the show? And you know what? If that's what it takes to make Sarah happy, I'm in.
But
I'm
the
in.
truth is, our cholesterol was high. If you watch the whole episode, it's because both of us go and get a physical, and both of our cholesterol is high. And I'm like, we need to exercise. We do not exercise.
Yeah.
And you're like, let's
And
do it in
so-
a fun way.
But it's fine. And I used to rollerblade in college. I'm not so good anymore. But
Yeah.
But that's the beautiful part about this show, is it's mixing, the seriousness of life and some of the hard things we go through, along with those fun everyday moments of talking your spouse and going to the doctor and talking them into exercise, even rollerblading.
So which of your family members was the most excited to do this?
oh,
You probably got at least one kid that's like, I'm ready for Disney.
Most of them pretend. Here's the thing: most of them pretend like they don't like it.
yeah.
Or
that's
they
the cool
say
thing to
they
do.
don't like it. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, do we have to do this again? But then it's like, then when you say, I find this cool, like, we don't have to do anything else. They'll be like, no, we're good.
Yeah, like you're like, we don't have to do a second season. They're like, well, maybe.
Yeah, I know.
Because I'm sure it's fun. Is it enjoyable to film all together? Because you're intentionally having family time. I mean, I saw one where the in-laws are there and you get to hang out with them. I mean, these are moments that most of us try to create in our lives, and you're like, we have to have them because we have to make an episode.
Yeah, that is true.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the thing is like, it's like second nature because Sarah's videoing everything anyways, So it's like,
That's a
she
mom role.
loves, the photos and videos. And so it was a little accelerated during that time, obviously.
Yeah.
But they did have fun with it in the end. They liked seeing it kind of come together. Like our big girl, our 16-year-old Emmy, like we thought her especially would kind of be like, oh, well, I'm 16 and I don't know about this whole show thing, but then like she was the one who would have her whole group of friends come over on a Friday night and watch the episode after it came out.
That's
We were
amazing.
shocked by
Yeah,
that.
we were shocked by that, and they all loved it, and we were like, "Yes, we're cool. We're cool parents."
That is a huge win. So I'm curious for you guys. You mentioned that you want people to see your faith through the show. What do you hope they take away?
Yeah,
I just hope they take away that you don't have to be perfect to have a wonderful family. Like, I just feel like imperfection is part of reality of love, and, the good, the bad, everything, So I just hope people feel hope.
yeah. I can't really say it any better than that.
I know that
that's
was really
exactly
beautiful.
Wasn't that great, but okay.
So part of our podcast is that Bekah's family has a lot of medical challenges as well.
Oh,
Her
okay.
husband is chronically ill and a lot of hospital stays. And I'm
I know
curious.
the life.
Oh,
it's
girl.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah, so
we
she
can
can-
compare war stories sometime.
Yeah.
She can relate to you like a lot. And so I'm curious how Bowens' heart issues and the surgeries, how has that affected your family and even your other kids?
Yeah, it's really interesting because part of the story that we love to tell is about Bowen is when he was first diagnosed in utero, we had a series of doctors and specialists tell us that basically his broken heart would break our family, and that, I mean, in pretty plain terms, that we should terminate our pregnancy.
Yeah.
And
Oh
so
my
that was really
goodness.
hard for me as a dad. And the craziest thing about it is just that, God used Bowen's broken heart to make our family whole. And so when you look at that story, it's like only God could do that, And so it's been hard, but it's interesting because even Bowen sometimes would say, like, that he kind of feels blessed to have a broken heart, because he knows that he gets to share his story and help other people, So it's like seeing the way how empathetic our kids are, and just like Sarah would put it, like, they don't know disability. It's like, they just have so much empathy for people, and they're so loving to anybody, and they're not put off by if somebody looks strange or walks strange, or or has some kind of disability. To most people, they just don't see it. And it's been a really beautiful thing in our family. So it's really weird, right? When you say, like, because of course you don't want your kid to suffer, but through that, so much beauty has come, and only God can do that.
I think it's coping when you hang on to hope and redemption. It's how we cope,
Yeah, but more than that, it's like, you love Romans 5 too. I mean, it's like that suffering produces character and perseverance and hope, right? It's like we gain so much from it, and it can be hard to see it that way, but you understand.
Yeah, I do. And that's what I was going to say is because I've noticed that when something hard hits your family, it either splits family,
Totally.
like
Yes.
people warned you, or it brings you much closer together, which the name of the show is the Hammitt's Band Together.
Yeah.
What advice could you give to families who maybe just got a diagnosis or just got hit with hard times on how to truly band together and stay together through the hard times?
That's a good question. I mean, I think to recognize that trauma there's ways it affects your family, and just to keep a lookout for how the devil will sort of try to use that, but not allow that, and just hold fast to God's promises, and just be really just like vigilant in how you react and interact with each other.
Yeah,
I
think a big part of it too is just embrace the mystery. People want solid answers, and I think if you let yourself, you can find the most beauty in the mystery of realizing, like, you don't have to. I love what you said earlier, like, families don't have to be perfect to be beautiful, right? And it's like same thing with these issues, like, man, these imperfections. It's like we don't understand when we tell our story about keeping Bowen. Even that's hard for us sometimes, because we know that there's kids who, when I say keeping, I mean him surviving some really difficult situations. Because every time I tell that story, I know there's somebody who didn't get their miracle or didn't get to keep their child. And it's almost hard for me to share at times. But, like, embracing that mystery of we don't know why God gives, we don't know why he takes, but he's good.
Yeah.
And I just think holding on to that, it's all you can do.
And I know the power in sharing a story
Yes.
too.
Totally.
And every time, I'm sure you guys have experienced through your show, through all sorts of storytelling ventures that you've been able to have, all the platforms you've had, that time and time again, people say, I needed this, or no one knows this, but,
Yes.
and I think that's definitely how God redeems our stories a lot of
Absolutely.
times.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Beautifully
Totally.
said.
And with the show, you notice how sweet your family is. Like, you guys you have fun together. And I'm a new mom, and I want that. Tell me how to get it.
Do a reality show.
Joy joins the Hammits and messes it all up.
Yes.
Do you have any advice on, your song on leading well? It sounds like you've spoken a lot about this. So just tell us anything that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think, like, it's the intentionality, right? So I always say, like, my lead me journey when people ask about it, like the song is meant and where it comes from. And there's a lot to it. And there's a real story behind it where it started. But that journey for me really is about moving from a man and a leader of good intentions to a man of action as the leader in my home. And I think that, we plan for a lot of things in life. We know what we have to do at work. We know what we have to do to accomplish, like, the things we have to do to be responsible adults in life. But a lot of times we think that family will just kind of coast on its own. It's like we don't a lot of times make the same intentional plans for how we're going to engage our families. and build our families as we do for other things that might be like we have to make a living over here, so we have to show up and have to make those plans. And so I think just that intentionality of like, okay, what do I need to do I think this show has done that for us too, is like, hey, what can we do to come together, and make a plan to actually have an adventure together. Ooh. And I think that, or, to serve together, to have an adventure together, and put it on the calendar and make it happen, create those moments. I think that's part of the way,
It almost sounds like what you're telling us is live as if you have a reality show to film.
Yeah.
That's what I'm taking away.
Have a reality show.
You got to make an episode.
You'll be fine.
Because it seems like I don't know if you feel this way, Becca, the really sweet moments that happen with your family are just kind of like accidental, because you only seem like you get Saturdays and Sundays, and I'm in a minister's home, and so we really only get Saturdays. And so you're saying like, plan the special moments, plan the adventures, plan the conversations. That's the best takeaway ever. We can totally take that.
Yeah.
The Hammits Band Together is available now on Liftable TV. And speaking of reality shows, we are going to play a little game with you. I'm going to give you the description of a reality show. You have to tell me if it's real or fake.
Okay. Do you guys watch reality TV?
No, I don't.
Maybe sometimes a little guilty
Sarah
pleasure
might
once in a while.
sometimes.
Okay.
We all have like our guilty pleasures.
She doesn't want to be honest. She does. Okay.
There's
And
one in particular, but that's it.
there are stakes here. We have decided that if you do well, then you're good to go. But if you do poorly, we will release embarrassing footage from your reality show. All the bloopers.
All right.
They're coming out.
Skateboarding clip.
Yes.
No, it's the rollerblading.
The rollerblading. Okay, show number 1. This dating show followed a group of women hoping to win a date with the lookalikes of several A-list celebrities.
That's reality. True.
That is fake. I'm so sorry. But I Want to Marry Harry was an actual show where people competed for a Prince Harry lookalike.
It's not even him.
It's very bizarre.
Prince Harry's like, okay, sorry, Prince, but like I don't know. That's kind of weird.
This show took over an entire town, filled it with actors, and set a fictional murderer on the loose and made contestants find clues and solve the crime.
I think that's real.
That is real.
I feel like I've
Be
heard
on
about that.
Right? Murder in Small Town X was on in 2001, just
So it's
one
like
season.
I feel like I
reality.
remember hearing about that.
Yes.
Yeah,
somehow.
right? They're all, these shows are kind of like at the back of your brain that you can't quite like brain dump them
I wouldn't want to be
sometimes.
the production manager on that.
It would be fun to be on it because you can't be murdered and the murders aren't real.
Yeah, that's true.
Totally
That's
down.
true.
That's
Safest
true.
town in the
That's
world.
This next one, female contestants are given radical makeovers and plastic surgery to compete for the most impressive physical transformation.
I mean, it seems like it'd be real, but I feel like it's a trick.
I'm going to let you just decide.
Fake.
That's real.
Oh, man.
That was The Swan, and it got 2
The
seasons.
Swan.
Oh, yeah, the Swan. I do
I
remember
watched
seeing
it.
advertisements for
That's
that.
totally why I'm messed up now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
We're
about to
very
undo
glad that
it.
that
It's
stayed in
really
2004. Next one, teenagers create and maintain dating profiles for their grandparents for 1 week.
That sounds like it's got to be real. I'm
letting you
losing this
pick.
game for us.
I know. She's making
this
you
real or
lose
fake?
it because she will not.
Real.
No, it's fake.
Looks like
You know what? I feel like it says a lot about you guys that you don't know reality
Yeah.
TV. This is okay. Just a few more questions I'm going to put you through.
They're good people.
I love it.
This documentary/reality series follows the stories of women who made it all the way to the moment of childbirth without ever knowing they were pregnant.
Oh, real. Totally real. I
Yes.
heard about that.
Wow.
I didn't know I was pregnant. You can get sucked in for hours.
Yeah.
Now that is fascinating.
It's insane.
They
You know
think
what
they're-
we're
Where do I
watching
see
tonight?
that?
They think their appendix is bursting
my
and they
God.
go to the ER. They're
This-
like, you just had a baby.
The first one I watched and the last one, this woman was working the Burger King drive-thru, and she was just like, "I'm gonna go to the bathroom," and then she was like, "I had a baby in there."
my
She was like, "I didn't know I
God.
was pregnant." I mean, traumatizing.
Wait,
At
how is
Burger
that a
King.
reality show if they're filming it?
It's
Oh, it's a
retelling the
retelling.
story,
Yeah,
and then
retelling.
they,
okay.
Dramatic
Dramatization.
I took some liberties with that one because Joy really wanted
yeah.
to talk about it.
Yeah.
So.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Okay, 2 more. 8 foreigners are dropped in small-town Louisiana where they have to convince a local panel that they are true Southerners through a series of challenges.
I don't know.
I'm gonna say
I'm scared.
false because the last was real.
That is fake. That's a good strategy.
Yeah, we've got the pattern down.
And final one, a group of kids between the ages of 8 and 15 are abandoned in a Wild West ghost town to build their own civilization.
True.
That is real. It's called Kid Nation. It was on in
Wow.
2007, and they literally had to pick leaders.
I feel like
they
this is
had to
against the
set
law.
bedtimes.
I think that sounds cool. But I bet there was some chaperones, don't you think?
There were chaperones
production
loosely, but I guess things still got really out of hand with kids
Of
in
course.
charge.
That
Oh,
terrifies
yeah.
me. 8 years old? I can't
Oh,
be trusted
yeah.
at 8 to do anything.
I can't be trusted
I
at
think it
31 to
depends
do
on.
anything.
Yeah.
Don't put me in charge of a civilization.
Absolutely not. So they lost.
They lost. We're
Yeah.
going to have to release all the footage.
And here's the clip.
Oh my gosh.